All right, we're underway. Saturday Afternoon Poetry on this Saturday, May 17th, 2025. We've got two incredible featured poets, Mark States and Monty Suri. After that, we're going to read from rock and roll poetry. Oh, yeah. Looking forward to that too. So, to start off, we've got this guy who I think he lives somewhere in the
It's a
East.
blur to the extreme.
What part of the East? I don't remember. What's the
Charlotte,
East?
North Carolina.
North Carolina, there, it just came to me. So please welcome Mark States, the greatest performer east of the Mississippi.
Welcome.
Our feature presentation, Destiny's Stepchild. Life's the
Mm.
same, moving in video.
Be sure
Life's
to
the
mute
same,
yourselves so you don't end up in
except for my
so far.
shoes. Life's the same. You're shaking like tremolo. Life's the same. It's all inside you. Life's insane. Moving in video, surveillance cameras in black and white. Life's insane. The time lapse trembles, and who you are is just a blur. It's so easy to get a new pair of shoes, yet a pair of pants is a square dance in a fitting room you can barely fit inside. Life's insane. A hidden viewer palpitates, but no one's sitting in front of you, making it rain. It's so tough. The car's screaming by. It's so tough. You got the green light. Drivers damn the traffic cam for tickets they get in the mail. Life's insane. That traffic cam cannot save your pedestrian life. Life's insane. Moving in video from couch to kitchen to taste test the pasta. You pay a home security company to watch you get baked and rasta. It's so easy to forget they monitor you. It's so easy to be misconstrued. Life's the same. I'm performing on video. Life's the same, except for the silence. It's so easy to talk to yourself when no one's threatening violence. The offense, the ego bust a nut. It's all inside you. It's so easy to look like a fool. Every stutter, each flubbed line, an alfalfa sprout of hair moving in video. The poor word choice, the ill-timed yawn, it's all around you. And there's nothing you can do to rewind, to live down that once upon a time, to live up to the gatekeeper's mandates. Moving from camera to camera, moving in video, life's insane. Naked glory. Just look at you, propped up in that bed of flowers, letting their sweet sensual aromas and pheromonal nectars stimulate your senses and flashes. You recline in all natural and naked glory. Eyes drifting off to distant horizon, gazing at forever after, fixated upon warmth of sunlight, passion fruit of sky, epiphany of lust. With thumb on sternum. Your open hand conceals nipple, taut and willing. Your fingers the mountaintops to the valleys of your ribcage, a solemn pledge you make over both heart and cross dangling from a whisper chain around your neck. One leg is strategically placed to remove from view the budding of your legendary stamen. Every pistol yearns. Just look at you, contemplating the next vision of hallelujah, la, 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 clasping the hands of an eager soul as both of you sweat and moan through an ethereal experience. But I need to tell you something. Your Love Sexy album is that perfect intermingling of spirituality and sexuality, the profound and the profane. I have gained so much poetic inspiration from it. When I lived in a studio apartment, my stereo was on top of my dresser, and one night I played Love Sexy, as usual, propping the album cover at the base of dresser. Two maintenance contractors came the next morning to work on the apartment door, yet they spent more time peeking over at your unashamed naked body, pointing and whispering, turning their heads to give me sheepish glances than to get their work done. I do not know if they even knew who you were. If they thought I had carelessly left out gay porn, would they start a scandalous rumor in the building? All I know is, after they left, I played your song Controversy, and my questions and discomfort drifted away. This song isn't for you, it's for me, a true MC. It's what he'll do just to see if he still has it and if his skills mastered. I don't even write anymore. Just swallow the pen till it drops to the floor of my soul. The pen dances and ink splashes. The pen writhes by itself. It's hell to go through things and come out the other end, nutrients sucked out and stripped down to the waist. In the evening, the chest is beaten itself to a pulp. Friction is the only way to work out the contradictions. I said it all before in the days of yore. There's no messing with the legend till you got your hand out looking for a lesson, a few lines thrown out, shown the door. Maybe there's something in them you can use. You can make a mountain out of pebbles if you collect enough of them. If it's worth it to you, you can score. But I don't even write anymore. It's a long way down to the floor. To claw your way to the top, you gotta have both hands free. It's not about sitting on a shore under an umbrella sipping coladas. It's fighting piranhas for what's left of your guts after lunch. I don't care who gets it or if its readers digest it, just have to let it writhe by itself. You've got those stranger's eyes. I've known you for years, but do I know you like this? When moon etches a burn hole, when hunger slips a Talon finger through the black curtain and the whites of your eyes do not gleam anymore, like your last birthday, like burying conflict diamonds forever. But I do not know. How could I know? These stranger's eyes, those furrowed brows, taut as a wire trap, have got you tied up and held for ransom. It's never clear. It's pantomime, like the eye spots on a brown butterfly's wings, flittering and distracting potential predators, like a talk box hooked up to a guitar. The poem mouths the words as though it were the instrument speaking. Is it just a lyric, a sound, and a feeling? Like the apology that wasn't, like the picture of a tree in a paperback book, like a parrot and bird caller in conversation. Things are not always what they seem. We fill in the blanks. We make pronouncements. We lose our voices screaming over someone else's to keep them from being seen. A pen tilts as a dog's would, trying to jot all of this down. The world barks itself up a paper tree and cannot get down and funky, like misreading what fingers are signing, like sitting in a parlor in fancy duds and guessing wrong in a game of charades. I knew I had to rise above it all or drown in my own shit. The precipice is shedding stones. A match catches fire and slowly destroys itself. What they demand on the left and what I know needs to be done on the right. And down is a long way and forever. If the universe kicked my ass today, tomorrow will it kick my balls to even things out? Destiny's stepchild looks up to midnight and moonlight, asking stars to point the way to survival and restoration. Dedicated to Larry Jaffe and roughly to the tune of John Lennon's Watching the Wheels. It's been a long tour from city to city and night to night, telling these poetry stories, hoping to soar like Southland birds into urban sky. But day after day, it seems the energy has changed. The harder I try, the more it seems stars appear to fade. I'm just sitting here watching the ceiling fan go round and round, getting a little wind in my face. And then the wise man says, live for the reading. Everything else is irrelevant. Bunkmates ask me why I'm down, even though I'm living out my dream. Well, I tell them there's a difference between backwater eddies and the jet stream. Where there's altitude, there's a great view, being on top of the game. With my name, there's a reputation for flying out of our shoes. Audiences asking questions about how I make a living. Well, I tell them I'm more concerned about how to make a life. I feel I failed to show them the distance between hope and home isn't long at all. I wanted to teach them how to fly, but all I saw was myself fall. I'm just sitting here watching the ceiling fan go round and round. I watch its wings fly quietly, and then the wise man says, son, live for the reading. Everything else is irrelevant. And I had to let the blues go. Oh. Thank you very much.
Feel free to detach your mutedness and thank Mark States for a great set. Very much in keeping with our topic.
Thank you,
Still
Mark.
remembering that one about swallowing the pen and it sinks down to, and I can't remember the last words, but that whole image of the pen just becoming your feet.
Yes.
Woohoo, Mark.
Woo-hoo. Thank
You
you,
rock as
everyone.
usual.
Yes. Thank you.
That last one was beautiful. The John Lennon one, that one really made me cry. That one made me touch my soul and heart. That really, to me, was the highlight of the whole thing. It was really great, just beautiful.
I'm touched. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Hey, can people acquire your poetry somehow? Is there a way?
I have a couple of old books. If people want to hit me up at dreamboogie@yahoo.com. Um, and they can find me at PayPal at the same place. I'll put this in the chat.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to our other featured poet for today. Another fine poet who's you're going to see him around town. He's getting some bookings. So I'm very happy to introduce that man who lives north of me, Mani Suri. Take it away, Mani. You got to unmute yourself though, there. You're muted. Yeah, I mute everybody, while the feature's reading. So you got to unmute.
I had to figure out how to do it.
Okay, you're good.
All right. This first poem was actually written initially in French, and this is the translation. I figured it'd make it easier just to read it in English. Stories. What is there to write that hasn't been written before? What is there to say that hasn't been said before? What life is there to live that hasn't been lived before? Which are the words that could express a deceived life? What was Cleopatra's last phrase when she died? One might say it's the poets who tell the stories. Thank you. God speaks in raindrops. We turn on windshield wipers. Snowflakes get shoveled. Now I lay me down to sleep. The old phone buzzes, demands I peek. What urgent messages, alerts do seek immediate attention before I wake? Oi, I must make haste ere I begin to leak. Head's back on pillow, mouth is fresh. Mint kisses fly to seek, soft lips in dreams, in some hollow or on desire's peak. Lights out. How long? How long might one sit sipping coffee, taking a delicate bite of a pain au chocolat, delicate so the bread can last longer, while staring at the Mediterranean, listening to Charles Aznavour croon La Bohème, while thinking of Paris occupied by Nazis and the Algerians' revolt? How long might one sit sipping Chianti, taking a delicate bite of a risotto, delicate so the dish can last longer, while staring at the lit up Colosseum by night, listening to Dean Martin sing Arrivederci Roma, thinking of the gruesome scenes on the arena, presented by emperors to keep the mobs entertained? How long might one sit sipping tea, taking a delicate bite of a scone, delicate so the pastry can last longer, while staring at the white cliffs of Dover on the 65-inch TV, listening to Henry VIII's Green Sleeves, thinking of the bloody wars of the Roses, the Plantagenets, and the Hundred Years' War? One could go on, but for how long? How long before one scratches the last item from one's bucket list, life having turned slightly rancid? Sometimes I wish I could have all of my molecules dissolve into the bed sheets and blankets for a truly deep sleep, lest this become a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think I'd best put my affairs in order from A to Z. Amber, Bessie, Caroline, Daisy, Elisa, Fifi, etc. Note: names have been changed to protect the not so innocent. Wannabe poets' haikus. Poets in all forms pen verses to capture hearts. Rose petals waft by. Rose petals waft by, carrying verses, fragrance from poets' gardens. From poets' gardens float verses on perfumed streams. Their echoes tickle. Nights old and weary, sleeps on crossing riverboat. Dreams await their turn. Remy Martin filled his senses as it swirled in the baccarat snifter, balanced between his pinky and the other fingers of his warmed palm. The chandelier glinted off the facets of the crystal tumbler cradled in his hand. An urchin, shaking a paper cup of coins, stared at him from the bottom of the amber cognac. His glance caught a glimpse of the Seigneur Chateaubriand on the gold-rimmed bone china monogrammed plate, awaiting his next bite at his table for one. A gilt-edged guilt tugged at his dueling sensibilities. Petit fours tickled his fancy for dessert to be downed with a double espresso. He thought of driving the long way home, expecting to be lulled by the purr of the engine behind the vertical chrome grille and the vision of the twinkling lights advancing past the spirit of ecstasy on the hood. Jazz. On peut jaser. We can chat incessantly. The deep notes of the saxophone reverberate, scintillate your skin, shimmering in the cool light of a long night moon. Your mounds and curves cast shadows, circumscribe your sensuality. The music flows over and around them, a silk chiffon exploring your surfaces, their stereophonic symmetry, the undulating perturbations over your mons veneris, bumping over your nubbin of passion, and meandering over your luna incognita. Let's get jazzed, blow the blues away. Let me tickle your ivories. You can blow your French horn. Come, let's jam. Fatigue wins the call of the bed, defeats the couch. Mind wants to shut down, just shut down. Residual thoughts still vie for attention. Even as floodwaters rush, roll through desert cities, hail turns barren landscapes white, 2 feet deep. Jeddah, Dubai, Mecca, Miami, cars, vans float by, crashing like toys. Rockets streak across skies, fighter jet bombs, drops bombs. Smoke, death's stench assail senses. Does sleep need an invitation? Will dreams steal guilt's thunder in bed safely leagues away from rumbling and war's children saying, the war is shit? Does any of this make sense? Did Guernica or Dachau or Treblinka or Wounded Knee? Where are the angels? Gathering doves? People simply see home when they look at the sea. Lapping waves beckon. They rush, whisper, we miss thee. Come back to the deep whence you swam away, took the leap. One has been watching many stories about kings and knights, their wars, conquests, and defeats, with much loss of life and limbs, regal and of peasant stock. Many did not even veer from Cain's fratricide. History held few lessons for them. One wonders how they slept, deeply from sheer exhaustion on the battlefields, or fitfully with visions of hacking foes, ghosts of their victims in battle. All this as one essays to slip from wakefulness into slumber's sweet repose and pleasant dreams. I am but a filament floating in a cosmic ocean, a strand of coral indistinguishable from others, unnoticed in the depths, then calcified, fixed stone, lapped by waves, waters from clouds and seas, snowy peaks, verdant valleys. Come, take a piece. Thistle cares not swaying or still in the breeze, whether you whistle happy or sad, it'll gather tears as dew or beam fresh anew. Who are you? Good morning. How are you? Who are you? I am a human. So am I. Where are you from? The East, whence Alexander turned back to return to Persepolis. Why are you here? To breathe the air of Sparta, walk where Paris entered through the Lion's Gate at Messenia, gaze upon the beach whence sailed the ships for Troy, the azure hue of the Aegean Sea under blue skies mottled with cotton clouds. Ça n'existe plus, which in English is, it doesn't exist anymore. At 15 Rue de Bac, I asked what happened to the barracks of the Three Musketeers. Ça n'existe plus was the swift riposte in jeers. At Place de la Bastille, I asked the barkeep in O'Sullivan's pub where one might find the Bastille. C'était ici, monsieur, mais ça n'existe plus. It was here, sir, but it doesn't exist anymore. I asked for directions to 75 Rue de la Harpe, where Buckingham once lived. Alors, ça n'existe plus. There was, in a quiet quarter of the city near Place Pigalle, a cafe before Haussmann, serving the best hot chocolate to down the best baba or rum. Hélas, ça n'existe plus. The drizzle made drops drip into streams. I asked Denise, where are the windshield wipers? She answered, ça n'existe plus. Et mon amour, à part les souvenirs, ça n'existe plus non plus. And my love, besides the memories, they don't exist either anymore. And the finale, I'll end with a prayer. How I do pray to play you. Press your keys pianissimo, fingertips dancing across your face, pausing here, there, on your high notes and in the hollows of your lows. Your light keys and dark thoughts, lips fribbling as the air blows past to play the silk of your sax. Lente adagio, along the curves of your spine, the notes fall as rose petals. The cymbals and castanets, auspices of an andante over the slope of your hips. Your heart and breathing allegretto, the plum ripe, its nectar brimming to bursting as the strings await their plucking, strumming, to turn your sighs from allegretto to fortissimo, the soaring aria of your soul so high, even God hears my prayer. Thank you very much.
Wow. Money, you kept the line lovers very busy. Go check out the chat. You'll see a whole lot of notes on your poetry. It's fantastic. Hey, everybody, you can, unmute and tell Money yourself what you'd like to say about his great
Yes,
poetry.
thank you so much, Monty.
Thank you, Terry.
Very lovely. Thank you so much. Very lovely.
Thank
Great to
you.
hear you again, Manny. Great to hear you again.
Thank you, Cal.
Yeah, Monty, that was just absolutely gorgeous. There was a one bad poem, it's a Radomir. There was a one bad poem
Guys, thank
in
you.
the whole bunch. And I know this, I don't want to get too personal. I know you lost your son 4 or 5 years ago. I think he'd be very proud of you today because that was just extraordinary poetry. I thought extraordinary, stupendous.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I've been in those, I've been in those places and had those.
Yeah,
You
Manny
know,
and I share the same pain.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I know.
Okay, so don't forget to check that chat, Money. Really, it was a feast. Yeah, by any chance, you got any poetry available?
Actually, what's happening is someone thought enough to put an album of my poetry with music together, and we mastered the thing yesterday in Hollywood at a sound studio, and that will be coming out in June, around and about the 21st. And my first piece that will be coming out and going on Spotify and all that stuff, and CD Baby and YouTube. There's a video for it already that's going to be put up there, and that's called Hard, Hard. So that'll be coming out, and then I'm working on another album with a lot of pieces with musicians from far and wide, and that'll be interesting. So look forward to announcements.
Oh, it's going to be sensational. Can't wait for that. It's just a month away. Hang together,
Yeah.
people.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate, again, Mark, you did a wonderful job. Great to hear and see you again. And I look forward to all the poetry from all the other poets gathered here. Thank you, Don, for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate it. Don is also the gentleman, if I haven't said it enough, who asked me if I had a chapbook after my first reading at his poetry reading back in Pasadena many years ago. And I said, I don't know what a chapbook is. He told me about it and said, you get your chapbook together and we'll feature you. So that I appreciate that feature and this one and the one coming up. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
after your album's out. That's going to be perfect timing. All right,
Thank you.
so we'll switch over to the other half of our programming here. We've got at least a dozen poets from rock and roll poetry going to share their poetry in the next hour. So I'll bring up the website. There it is for Feathers Press Rock and Roll. And we're just going to go down the line. It's easier. So if you know you're coming up, you can unmute, but otherwise I recommend you mute so you don't end up in somebody else's poem. And our first poet is Michelle Smith. I know you're here,
Hi, good
Michelle.
afternoon and good evening, everybody.
Where
I can
is
see.
Michelle? I'm looking for Michelle Smith.
Oh, I'm here. You don't see me?
I'm trying to
Hi.
find you. There she is. Okay, so you're a still image. What's with that?
Huh? Oh,
You got a still image there, Michelle. There we go. Now it's you. Now it's you. Okay, so I know you got one poem here. Let's get into it.
okay. Let's see. I can. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Thank you. Okay. All right. This is called Historically Hysterical. Chuck Berry was the king of Johnny B. Good. Little Richard was the architect of Lucille and Footie Tootie. British records were in the 40s. Smashing creations and still hated. Segregation and racism. Was their conscience ever disturbed? Whites danced to what they understood. Blacks invented unique beats and melodies, foot stomping, dancing, clapping sounds. Tutti Frutti, covered by Pat Boone, is a joke. He was not Blue Eyed Soul like Righteous Brothers or 1978's Bobby Caldwell's What You Won't Do, You Do for Love. Emulate, appreciate, dedicate. Elvis swiveled his pelvis to the jailhouse rock on the Ed Sullivan Show. TV watchers were either amazed or angered. He was considered the king of roll, the rock and roll king. Not, absolutely not. Chuck's and Richard's bravado best on the guitar and piano had audiences prior to him. Historically, they did their thing. Elvis and B.B. King became friends. He enjoyed and benefited from gospel roots and sound records, swooning gifts and songs. Teenage Frankie Lyman appeared on Dick Clark's American Bandstand. A pin drop could be heard as those indelible blonde and brunette girls' faces showed shoe mixed face value. Did prejudice strike a nerve? Young, gifted, and black, belting out one of his three hit songs. Again, did prejudice strike a nerve? Music is an international language. Rock and roll is over 70 plus age genre, birthed and created by Mississippian Delta in America. Southern African Americans, royalties and rights still for pennies unpaid, and that is the cruelest and coldest word. Hence, hence hysterically hysterical.
Thank you, Michelle. So
You're
true.
welcome.
So true. Glad you said it. Hey, by any chance, Redimir, is Patricia in your vicinity? Oh, you're mute. There we go.
No, here I am.
It's you. Oh,
No,
you'll be coming up
no,
soon.
she's not. She's not. But can I read that second poem of hers? It's short.
All right. It's hard to say no to you, so I'm going to say yes.
Know what I mean?
Roll.
Okay, roll. It's the role, it's the times, a time to join a band or start a band of your own where you can sing to your heart's content. You can write your own songs and perform them like a songstress in the wind.
You did okay there.
Oh, thank you.
Well, she would have been good too. All right, well, I'll just thank her for me that she submitted those. Marvin's kind of a shy guy, you know.
Yeah, it was her. Yeah.
So now it's your turn, Radomir. Which poem of yours do you want to read, sir?
The last one, the
Oh,
third
that's
one.
the third one. That's the third one. Okay, there it is. The American original.
I was born out of Hitler's bloody disease, Stalin's scarred and shredded knees, raised in the deep south where African Americans hang from trees like gray moss. Rock and roll, the root disease, Elvis Presley on his knees, black music, his sole decree, tears streaming down furious Tupelo face. Schooled in the finest Catholic institutions of highest learning, where hypocrisy is the game, not Jesus's muted name, in which future doctors, lawyers, and politicians call black people niggers without knowing why, through battered cries, uneven skies, looking for a place to die. Roots, the groundbreaking Emmy Award winning television miniseries, was scoffed at and scorned because it concerned Negroes, not Narcissus, Black folks, not the alabaster same. Change coming as slowly as molasses, the brown Mississippi devouring Mark Twain's glasses, sweltering humidity and caustic reality in the Gulf South, where art is not a whole, football a savage weekend stroll, a culture massaging lace and race like place and a lack of pace. Slavery misunderstood by brutal souls with hearts like holes, chains and shackles enough to murder enormous moles. And love painted by a purple, green, and gold jazz band, sashaying into the French Quarter's soul of sand, the balloons echoing from the ground like black magic, gumbo and jambalaya falling from our sounds. Beignets and coffee devoured at once. Mardi Gras, a wild southern brunch. The ass and alcohol, or tits, ass and alcohol on a bourbon street. Bunch, hunch. Sorry, I can't see this. Hunch. Perhaps my heart requires a Brennan's munch.
Wow, thank you, Radomir.
You're welcome.
I do believe next in our electronic vicinity is Canada, RA. There she is.
Okay. No rock, no roll. It was spring, streams flowing in the mountains, still some snow in places, ice holding the scree solid, or so we thought. I don't remember clearly if I tripped on a larger rock or caught my foot under a shelf of frozen fragments. I fell on hands and knees. Nothing solid to grab, shards of scree taking me along. Classical musician doesn't do roll, so I continued scrabbling downhill. I slid backwards until it leveled off. Sounds of rock slide behind me, falling infinitely down from where I stopped at the edge. Somehow we got to a dirt trail. My knees were wrecked, not improved by hiking down under the influence of medicinal booze. Cognac still makes my knees hurt.
Yeah. Quality as always. Thank you, Ari. All right, let's see. Next up, it's going to be Terry McCarty. Here he comes. Here he is. Which poem would you like to read, Terry?
I'll do the first one.
Okay.
I remember Brian Williams. Turn on that supposed liberal cable news channel and hear the retired general say, we can take out most of North Korea's nukes, while the anchorman who loves war so much, he embellished a story about being in a chopper near combat, nods solemnly. War is a testing ground, anchorman thinks. But isn't it a truer testing ground to give diplomats free rein to stop wars before they start? Here we are at yet another precipice, barely connected to land as pebbles roll and fall into a bottomless canyon.
Thank you, Terry. Wow, what a great poem.
Thank you.
It's good to have you back. Yes. And so speaking of someone else who hasn't been here in a while, Peggy Castro, your time has come. She's just around the corner. There she is.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, Peggy. And I know you got 3 short poems, so I'm going to ask you, please, to read all 3 because they're so short. Would you be willing to do that?
I would be willing, but I don't have my glasses. My
Uh-oh.
connection is shit. Would you be able to read
Would
them
you like
for
to have
me?
someone read them for you?
Yeah,
Okay. Would you like to choose a reader or should I get a volunteer?
get a volunteer.
All right. So these are 3 short poems by Peggy. The volunteer to read is R.A. Okay. Here's the first one.
Okay. I question my path. To the left, loneliness. To the right, loneliness.
Thank you, R.A. And there's going to be 2 more. I just wanted to say very quickly, in case people didn't know, these are also Peggy's photographs.
Mm.
Right, so they really go well with the poems. All right, so here's the second one.
Oh, wow. To relax into life, forget about the almighty ego. Have faith you can float. Let go, let go.
Mm-hmm. And the third one.
Oh, I love this one.
Mm-hmm.
Do bumblebees question how much is too much? Drunken stupor or ecstasy?
Yeah, great stuff, Peggy. Thank you, R.A., for reading them.
Well, thank you,
you.
John, for not picking one of my nukes.
Hey, what? Hey, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Light,
Oh,
dark, it's all good.
yeah, I love these. These are my favorites. My Haiga are my favorites.
They are spectacular. Okay, Robert, you're right next door. How do you want to handle this? You got 3 images. They're quite similar, but I'm sure there's some deep artistic nuance. Would you like to talk about it?
Let's go to the middle one first.
Okay, you got it.
So this is an image I scraped from the internet of Mount Augustus, which is in Australia. It is the longest mountain on Earth. The connection to the theme is that a mountain is made of rock. So that's why I I chose it.
Okay.
It qualifies.
And what I like about this filter, I use a graphic arts software called Canva. Is one of the filters is called shadows, which has 6 different options, and this one puts your image above an angle, so it really makes your image look like a photograph, and that's what was my intention for that one. I think I achieved it. Let's go to the top one.
Okay, yeah, that really does look like a postcard. It really does. But not this one. Oh my.
So my intention for this one was to make it look like a impressionist landscape. Again, I used Canva. I used a filter called Trippy Trace to add the multicolors to the image, and then another filter called Liquify to give it a little bit of movement. If you look at the trees on the left side, it looks like they have some depth and movement, and that's created with the Liquify. And let's go to the bottom one.
Okay. Yes, I'm really sensing the movement there. It's like things sliding around almost. Okay, wow.
So this one is also my intention for this one was to make the image look like it had painting brush strokes. My first filter, I think, was called Heat Wave, which added a lot of blue to it. And then I added the filter Liquify, which gave the appearance of painted brush strokes. And I also wanted to thank Four Feathers Press. I attended the first workshop of the month in this month, where Don led some prompts on rock and roll, and that is where I started working on this image, and I'm grateful for that inspiration and beginning of this work on the mountain. So thank you, Don.
Very cool, Robert. Yeah, it really moves. Love it, love it. All right, now here's someone who's a multi-talented as well, Dean Okamura. There he is. Well, that's not him, but which poem would you like to read, Dean?
Oh, I'll read the first one.
You got it. That's an interesting image too.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm an older guy. I write a lot of poems about older things for me. Doesn't mean everybody's like this. So what shocked me is I thought, gee, I read an article in The Guardian, and there's this singer from a 90s rock band. And I was thinking, guy, the 90s isn't that recent. And she's had a lot of injuries. So I took some of the stuff from the article, put it in this poem. It's called Like a Singer in a 90s Alternative Rock Band. My life used to sound like a 90s rock band, loud, chaotic, falling apart. We argued over lyrics, stage lights, and hair dye, how to stay real, still shine. 30 years later, we tour with replaced hips and memories that click. I wore a sweatsuit with a walker, zoomed past pride into punchlines. Mascara on good days, just a soft defense from the sun, can fake crazy. You can't fake crazy after all these years. We miss high fives on purpose before shows, too cool to connect. I keep one dress from 2002. It still fits if I don't inhale. They hear me smile when I talk camera off. You can't fake crazy after all those years.
Oh,
That's
for
it.
Shirley Manson.
Yeah, if you want to read it, it's Don put the link there. So
Yeah. Fabulous. Fabulous, Dean. That's 30 years ago. That is mind blowing. It really is.
yeah, I always think that those songs are like yesterday.
Hmm. Ellen Maybe is here. And you got some
Yeah.
short films too. I'm hoping you can do all three. Is that okay, Ellen?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. This is called Boat Havoc. Row, row, row your yacht. Billionaires leave smoky fires. The mood is tragic. The 60s never imagined the 2000s. Painted rocks sing love with a tie-dye tambourine. The future awaits. The world is drowning. The boat rolled ashore like a collective bad dream. The water oozed through. Thank you.
Deep, 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 as always. Thank you, Ellen. Award-winning poet. We know that. All right, we're going to slide on down now, all the way to Kaloki. Ooh, I had to go a little bit fast there. Some long poems in between. Oh yeah, there he is, Kaloki. Get back there. Get back there. Okay, Kaloki, are you ready, sir? Gotta make sure you're unmuted.
Okay.
There you go.
All hail rock and roll. We didn't rock around the clock at Bob Jones University, or any hour of the day for that matter. It was more than the beat, the beat, the beat. It was the music of rebellion against God. Every time Teen Adam and Eve did all those suggestive dance moves, it was like eating the apple again and again and again. Thus, I couldn't believe when I heard as I entered my dormitory roommate Bear singing from our second floor shower another Elvis hit. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Um, Bear was fearless. He also didn't care much for BJU's rigid piety. Pray before you want to, because you want to, not because you have to. One night while I was kneeling during a prayer meeting, and each cluster of 3 dormitory rooms were required to have before lights out, he grabbed a hold of my right toe and twisted it like he was going to yank it off. It was all I could do to keep from both screaming and laughing. Bear was the best college and seminary roommate I ever had. Yeah, Bob Jones didn't take the youth's inclination to rebel very well. They let us know that while they welcomed constructive suggestions, no griping was tolerated. We had this joke about 2 students who were expelled from BJU, one for griping and the other for lying. The one for griping said he didn't like the grit students had to stomach every morning. The one for lying said he liked them. They also didn't tolerate kissing and holding hands on campus. Next, to question the infallibility of Bible Belt's paper pope, the biggest no-no at this institution of higher learning was the usual sex stuff. So if you didn't want to be expelled from this fundamentalist paradise, you kept your hands to yourself. I was one of the waiters serving sad grits for breakfast. In addition to other grub for lunch and dinner, it was one of my co-workers who introduced me to Carol, who was from Eureka, California, and a junior at the university's adjacent high school. Oh man, did she ever, in the words of Sam Cooke's classic, send me. She could wear tight dresses of Chuck Berry's Sweet Little 16 and BJU, but still look good sporting high-heeled shoes. We had a few things in common. Like Bear and me, she rebelled against Bob Jones' religious rigidity and agreed that fundies weren't much fun. But I was over my head as far as class differences go. Her father was a PG&E executive who gave her allowance, which was twice what I earned working 40 hours a week at a department store in Midwest City, Oklahoma. I was flattered that someone so wealthy and attractive had shown interest in me and enjoyed my company. One night we went to an opera at the University Auditorium. As the lights went out while stage crew changed scenery, I reached for her hand and she mine, and our fingers intertwined. Later, Carol was to dump me for another waiter, and like the Everett Brothers put it, bye bye happiness, hello emptiness. But at that very instance, when eternity intersects with the time space continuum, a jolt surges through my body like the one Adam must have felt in Michelangelo's painting as the creator with his finger touched his hands, and I became a born again fornicator.
Yeah. Way to go, Kelly.
Long live rock and roll.
Oh, Cal, you always have the best last lines. You just nail it.
All right, next up is Jackie Chow. There she is.
Okay, hello everybody. Okay, my poem is called Paradolia. A minotaur dances the cha-cha with the bonneted girl. She clenches her fist as he pushes her for a spin with his thin arm. A dog peeks from under her hem in a heart-shaped sky. The rocks and bricks aren't just rocks and bricks. They tell stories. Yeah, it's based on a picture of a bunch of rocks and bricks, and there are patterns on the rocks and bricks. But I wasn't able to use the photograph because of copyright issues.
Oh, well, the poem's very vivid. So way to go, Jackie. And the
Thank you.
most patient person in the room is Mary Meyer Shapiro. Are you with us still, Mary? Yes, you are.
I am still here.
So I'll slide on down to you. It's not too far to go.
Okay.
And I'm afraid to ask which poem you want to read because you're going to
I
say,
don't remember what I wrote, so pick what you want.
You know, says that. All right, then we'll review those titles for a moment here. We've got Frontier Boundary, Dreams Gone Astray, and Voyage by Bike. I'm going to vote for Voyage by Bike if it's up to me.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay. Voyage by bike. Roll along the countryside. Pedal the bike up and down hills. Straight, curve, even bumpy. Potholes, roads. Wind blowing through your hair. I can't even pronounce that word.
It's a word, that's for sure. Anyone
Yeah, I did it on,
Ooh.
I looked up different words. Spreading, fertilizing the land, seeing nature in full bloom. You got to go down more. I can't read it.
There you go.
Oops. Then changing from season to season. Where did you travel? Where did you go? Perhaps just around town. Freedom of the road.
I like to think we can all relate to this poem. Definitely, definitely. Great piece of nostalgia. That's it. This whole exercise in rock and roll has been kind of nostalgic. So I'm going to read the most nostalgic of mine to finish off this chapter of our lives. Let's see. Gotta go. Well, it's tough for me because 1975 to 2007, or I could go right to 1978. I'm going right to 1978 because that's some heavy nostalgia. It's called The Freeway. We were in the 63 Brown Buick I bought from my uncle for $350, blazing down the 210 freeway to Ontario for Cal Jam 2, the rock and roll concert. where we teens would light up freedom from our parents. In a crowd of 300,000 at the Speedway, we walked through the tunnel to the infield where sleeping bags dotted the grass. We made tracks on the grass in just an hour. It was 4 a.m. I had been doing 78, trying to drive the year. Everyone was sleeping below the stars, waiting to be awakened by 100,000-watt speakers and reborn into rocking festival lyrics to hear our cultural leaders, Aerosmith, Santana, Foreigner, Mahogany Rush. And when it was over, after our fists pumped into the air, thick with smoke and spilled beer and trampled dust, we shuffled out, media-fed cattle, mooing with happy tiredness for the 2 a.m. drive home. I drove in the dark highway space, weaving with ears buzzing. We had to stop to piss on the walls of a closed gas station, spraying yellow sparks of independence in the night, the liberation of being on our own with friends, hours of deep high to always remember.
Yep.
Any chance I could read? I have a poem to theme. I didn't send one in.
Hey, I had a feeling there would be somebody like that. And so we have finished our website reading, and now we have time for an open reader or two. I think there's a couple of you out there. Who was that first voice?
All righty.
It was Luis.
This is Icarus, an obit. You flew on artificial wings, feathered without fear. Rutan, long, easy plane, newly purchased, experimental. You executed touch and go landings, daredevil loops, and close ground passes. Followed the shore on a melody of sky, soaring across the blue-green bay, blinded by beams of light bouncing off metal. With confidence you flew, hum of engine and sweep of wing buzzed in your ears, fingers toyed with levers, awkward arrangement of gauges. You shouldn't have been flying, failed sobriety, halo of celebrity, no protection. You fell into the water, weighted down by too much ego. Sky became ocean. They found your body floating face down among the wreckage of wings. News of your death flew around the world. One day, while beachcombing along Monterey Bay, I discovered your monument, smiling faced image in bronze. I sang my favorites, Country Road, Take Me Home, and Leaving on a Jet Plane. Thank you.
Wow, Luis, fantastic. Hey, send it in anyway. I'll put it on the website if you like. That's a great poem. Great poem.
Yeah,
hey,
that was
and there's
beautiful.
someone here
Great
who's
stuff.
a fresh arrival. Heather has a poem to share.
Yeah, thank you so much. Do you guys want long, short, about San Francisco, not about San Francisco? What calls to you guys?
You know, they say it's harder to write a good short poem, so let's hear the long poem.
Oh, well, that's about San Francisco, so let's do the long one.
Oh yeah, we know that city, but do we know it through Heather's eyes?
That is true.
Yeah.
Let me find that one. And here it is. How do you leave the city that gave you your name? For San Francisco. You found me in tatters, beyond tatters, because my shreds didn't even know they belonged inside a body. When you found me, I mourned everything, from feathers that flew off of birds to spiders I cleaned out of the safety of their webs. I thought that we would grow old together, you and I. It was in your hills that I realized I could heal, that I was a person entitled to life. It was through the screeches of minibuses and sandy winds that I realized I had senses, that I was entitled in as many words as I wanted to describe the visceral flowings of emotion. How do you leave the city that gave you life, the city that never grew sick of you, that told you more so than anywhere else that you belong? How do you leave the city that gave you your name? I wrote of jasmine-scented walks guiding me home, and fog so thick I couldn't see the turn onto Portola heading over Twin Peaks. I wrote of drizzles and steel drums, birth and separation. I wrote of names, umbilical cords, tasting of meatballs, and losing one's faith in being okay with it. Leaving you feels like leaving my words behind, the poem portraits I form. Leaving you feels like losing my name. I search for metaphors of growth in my mind. I think of nests and hatched birds, pollen blowing off of flowers. I wonder if this is what it feels like to leave a nurturing home, not as an escape, meaning you did your job, turning me from nameless to named, turning me from passive receiver through all of my umbilical cords to owning my connections. I wonder if this is what it feels like to have a name that you don't need to leave behind, that will follow. I know that if I get to keep my name, then I will get to keep my words. If I get to keep my words, then I get to keep you as inspiration. As such, I thank you for naming me. I thank you for making me something capable of giving life and naming things.
Wow.
So
Spectacular, Heather.
thanks.
If you ever want to get published by Four Feathers Press, all you got to do is go to fourfeatherspress.blogspot.com for a list of the topics in the future. I'm
Okay.
sure you'll find something that'll fit. That's so good, so good.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Speaking of checking out, Patrick was here, but I don't see him right now. But I'm going to advertise what he wants to do tomorrow. I'm going to screen share a flyer for tomorrow's poetry performance workshop. Here it is. We've got a whole bunch of guests lined up. And the guest tomorrow at 4 o'clock on this very same channel that you're on now is Kenan B. Rains. So I think that is definitely worth going to just to see the performance of Kenan B. Rains. You'll also get a chance to perform a poem of your own after she does her thing. Was there a question?
I could vouch for. Yeah, I highly recommend. What
Kenan
time
B.
is that
Rains. Yeah.
again? I would definitely want
That's
to.
at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Tomorrow. Yeah. All right. I want to thank everybody for being a part of Saturday Afternoon Poetry. We're going to be at the Lamanda Park Branch Library next week, reading from this book, which just arrived today, Southern California Selfies. Oh, it's a gorgeous volume. They did such a great job as always printing this thing up. And oh yeah, so there was a question about a mailing list. Okay, well, this is a little bit awkward because I don't have a mailing list, but definitely go to Facebook or Google Saturday Afternoon Poetry because apparently we're the only Saturday Afternoon Poetry on the planet. Google it, find out. You'll see it's the only one. So,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, Ari.
Well, I have a request because Manny's poetry about France and Italy and all that kind of stuff.
Future topic. Yeah, I'm going to be
Yeah.
asking for 2026 topics. I'll be doing that, but not right away. Probably in October, I'm going to be asking for 2026 topics. So don't forget that thought. Hold that
I got
thought.
one, yeah.
Yeah, but it's too early now. I can't deal right now.
Okay.
No, the thing is that Manny brought back a lot of memories, and I have a poem that speaks to them, and I didn't know if it was like too much to read an extra poem, but sort of in honor of him.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea to me. But I'm not in charge.
I hear someone fishing a poem. Is that right? Casting a line. Well, okay, like I said, it's hard for me to say no to Radomir, even if it's through RA. So I guess you can do that, and then we'll be, going on with our lives.
So this was for Manny. Mystère de l'automne. I look out at Jardin du Luxembourg, an impression of muted colors draped in mists and shadows. Inside the cafe, a waiter brings the cup, positioning it upon the table, ready for my café au lait. He returns with a carafe in each hand, one of steamed milk, the other of steaming hot coffee. In perfect measure and balance, he pours them simultaneously with an understated flourish. He departs, and I await its arrival, the morning's benediction, a perfect pain au chocolat. Now I can begin my day, the taste of equinox on my tongue, as Paris emerges from the fog.
Beautiful. All right,
Beautiful,
once more,
beautiful, nice.
thank you to our featured poets, Mark States and Monty SURI, for being our features today, and thank you everyone for being a part of Forest Feathers Press Publications. And we'll do this again real soon. All right, say goodbye, everybody. Recording.
Come back and read, and come back to our sessions,
Yeah,
our
yeah.
sessions. It'd be
Thank
so
you.
lovely.
That's what I was trying to say.
Thank you for your
All right,
poem.
Thank you.